What does Amanda the Adventurer 2 hide behind the scenes? In Amanda the Adventurer 2, we explore the interior of an eerily vacant library. Of course, it's a bit more spooky than it sounds, since we obtain an Amanda the Adventurer tape, and from there, things begin to take an unsettling turn. From a monstrous arm reaching out through the vents, to plenty of hidden objects, there's quite a bit for us to find. There's stuff to break, and familiar faces to see, so I hope you enjoyed today's look behind the scenes of Amanda the Adventurer 2's demo. Now to quickly recap the series of events we'll be covering, we start off just inside the doors of this library area. We'll immediately come to the front desk where a computer is located, and on it, we can navigate the directory for each book that has come and gone. Using clues found within various books, we'll obtain a code needed to unlock the cabinet containing the tape. From here, we enter the kids area and throw the tape into the VCR, where we'll begin our adventure with Amanda. In this short minigame, we'll help Amanda plan her trip to various locations, fend off a Swiper-inspired possum, and eventually take a thrilling ride aboard her magic train. After this tape ends, a monstrous hand will reach down from the vents and hand us a second tape, where a bunch of glitchy scenes take place, eventually revealing a release date and taking us back to the title screen. Recap aside, let's check out this main menu area. So as you may have guessed, the main menu area is a fully modeled 3D environment that's mostly the same as the regular gameplay areas. There are a few differences to note though. Obviously, some of the objects here aren't being rendered properly, and the textures don't look quite right. This is mostly noticeable on the posters and the doors. What's worse is that someone stole the computer at the front desk. Most of the interactable objects are currently unloaded, as they won't ever be used in this location. Now, one of the biggest differences between the title screen and the actual gameplay area is the TV itself, but not the one we're usually looking at. If we remove the present television set, there's a second TV in the same place that we can poof back into existence. I'm sure a lot of you already recognize this particular asset, as this is the same asset used in the previous game. It's a bit more rounded than its newer counterpart, and we can even re-enable the stickers that line the exterior. On the same cart, there's also a sixth tape with a sticker that reads "Continue" on it, and it's disabled by default. That's it for the menu screen though, so let's head into the game itself. So loading into the actual library, the very first thing I did was clean up a little bit, though I may have gone a bit overboard in deleting all the books. I'm not sure what a library without books is good for, but it feels a lot less cluttered in here now. Something I found interesting though, is that by doing this, we've only deleted the props and not the interactable objects. So the books needed to complete the first puzzle are still loaded in, and a lot easier to find. Next, I deleted the door to the restroom to see what was behind it, but it turns out not all doors lead to doorways, and there's simply a wall behind it. However, on the other side of the room, there's a mostly inconspicuous door that we can't usually open. Using the power of hacks, I was able to remove it though, and beyond it is a room that I believe is called the Archives. Heading inside, we'll find a few tables, as well as some mailboxes, and a desk with a notebook and pen on top. There's currently nothing we can interact with here, though I assume this area will be accessible in the final release. Now to finish off our investigation into the library's mysterious doors, I took a peek beyond the entrance. Though the level appears to extend beyond this doorway, the area we see through the glass is only a projection, a flat image used to create the illusion that the player is viewing a fully 3D environment. So I put on my Rainbolt hat here for a moment and channeled my inner GeoGuessr spirit, because this is obviously a real location. Upon closer inspection, the image used here looks to be of a roundabout in Harrogate, England. In the center, there's a large statue of a crown, and we can even see the Crown Hotel in the background. I'm assuming this was included in an asset pack of some kind, or just straight up pulled from Google, but I can't say for sure. The image is definitely altered though. Regardless, Amanda the Adventurer 2 takes place in England, confirmed? While I was checking out the rest of the map, I spot a pink object of some kind way out in the void. Once again, I'm sure fans of the series will recognize this as the meat shop from the first installment. Currently, there are no finalized materials applied to the building itself, but the meats and their hooks are fully textured and visible. I was able to locate the butcher and re-enable them, and to my surprise, they're fully animated still. It's a bit easier to see this area when the store itself is not visible, and we can even see some of the untextured platters on the counter in front of the meat man. He just chops away like usual. Now, while I was checking out the various hidden objects, I stumbled across a set of gray assets that can be toggled back on. There's a wall that blocks the entrance, a door that clips through the men's room door, and a handful of filing cabinets in the archives. Stored separately from the rest of the default textured objects, we can also toggle on all of the original gray boxing from when this map was still being constructed. Similar to how an artist will sketch out their drawings, game devs will use these boxes and stand-in assets to help shape the level they're trying to build. Before committing the time to create the 3D assets and environmental pieces needed to pull it off. In some cases, these gray boxes are a lot different than the final product you see, as here we can see a part of the map that never made it into the demo. It appears to be a microscope of some kind, though it's hard to tell since it lacks finished textures. That's not the only difference here, as among other subtle changes, there's also what appears to be a pipe behind the desk in the archive. It could be some kind of hidden entrance, or maybe an emergency exit, but as of right now, we can only speculate. In the kids area, we can see a few shapes as well as some chairs, and it's clear that this area ended up a bit differently than the devs originally planned. Of course, this is only a demo, so even the stuff currently in the game is subject to change, but it's still awesome to see how the level around us changed with time. As a whole, it appears that the first game was used as a base when creating the demo, and this is further substantiated by the letter to Riley hidden in the game files. We can re-enable it and see the same letter from Aunt Kate that is shown in the original game's intro. Another asset left behind is the mysterious figure. We've seen this character once before, as they were a part of a hidden ending in the first game. After collecting all the secret tapes throughout the game, this mystery character would appear behind you, leaning over a table. As you can see, they're present in the new demo as well, and they're even the same pose as before. There's no table in front of them now though, so they're just sort of leaning on thin air. Also, because of their placement in the map, it looks like they're standing inside of a trash can, which is pretty hilarious. If we wanted, we can just walk into them too, since they don't have any collision and they're completely harmless to the player. Now, the videos seen on the TV aren't 3D environments, but instead are pre-rendered videos that play out as we interact with them. So unfortunately, we can't explore them like we can the rest of the map. We can, however, take a look at the monster as it reaches down through the vent. So typically, when we play through the first video, a second tape will be handed to us by the lanky arm of an unseen entity. If we move the camera above the map before this takes place, you'll see that the monster is already loaded in and waiting to hand it off to us. This is the same entity that attacks us in the attic, but for some reason, it's completely missing its head. This is especially funny because the last time we viewed this creature out of bounds, it was only a head with no body. So to see it swapped around like this is kind of ironic, and dare I say, glorious. What's even weirder is that this creature apparently has 3 tongues according to the game files, although its head is missing, so we don't see anything of the sort. Anyways, when the player finishes the first video, this hand will punch through the vent in the ceiling and we can grab our tape. When viewing this from another angle, we can see that their hand reaches back into the ceiling where the tape sort of just materializes from thin air. If we don't grab it from them, they'll shake it around angrily, eventually just throwing it across the room. I can definitely say I wasn't expecting that to happen. When the arm retracts out of sight, the entire monster raises upwards and then just resets back to its idle position. When playing through this part of the game, you'd have no idea this headless monster was waiting for you just out of sight. But with that, that's everything I found hidden off camera in the Amanda the Adventurer 2 demo. If you enjoyed today's game-breaking video, make sure to subscribe. That way you won't miss what we cover next. Thanks for watching, and cheers!